Hi, welcome to Naughty Nautilus. My name is Corinne, and this is going to be my February update for all of my cross stitching. If you're new, welcome. If you're returning, thanks for coming back. I know I haven't had the best record in the past, but I am trying to do some monthly updates, and luckily I have been continuing this crazy amount of stitching that I've been doing into February. So just to start off, I did over 12,000 stitches, which is pretty high for me, and those were just the ones I could track. I worked on 2 patterns, which are paper, and I don't bother to count them. So it's actually more than that was covered. So I'm very happy with that. If you've been around for a bit, you know that I don't like to have a lot of whips, and I have been trying to simultaneously bring that number down, get some old projects done, but also leave room for new stuff because you get bored, right? So it's been a balance for me. And I just got hit with, I need to finish all the things. So we're riding that wave. But first I wanted to share, I do actually have an FFO for you. Let me grab it. So this is the whale. I'm going to try to not get too much glare, but I got 2 windows, so you're gonna get what you get. But this is the whale. It was by AKX Stitch on Etsy. I finished this late last year, and I had this frame lying around. It was something I bought on a whim because I said, ooh, that's a nice frame. I was working at Joann Fabrics. This was in the clearance section. Clearance went to like 80% off, so I got this frame for really cheap. So and it was the perfect size, and I think it really does the piece justice here. So the wobbling is the cat, who was nowhere to be found when I started, decided now is the time to be hanging out. Just a moment. This is the fluffy one who wants to investigate, and I also have a cup of tea sitting there which he will drink and spill, so had to get him. But this is my fluffy void voodoo. So you guys have seen, I believe I've shared a picture of him before. So yeah, so that's my FFO. It was exciting to get that. I don't know where it's going to go yet in the house. I tend to frame and hang most of my FFOs. I don't really do any other finishing techniques. So yeah, but that's my FFO. And I do have 3 finishes for you. So the first one, I said I wanted to finish in February, and I did. So very excited. This is The Cats Have Arrived. This is a free pattern from Owl Forest Embroidery. I'll put over my face what it looked like before. Last time you saw it, I wasn't quite 50% of the way. Or no, I was 50% of the way. I had done a good chunk of it. And basically I did the whole bottom section and finished up on this side of the piece there. So this was done on 32 count Murano by Zweigart in a color light gray. I just bought it as like a prepackaged track quarter. And I use the DMC suggestions from Owl Forest. This is not the Owl Forest threads. And I'm pretty happy with it. Overall, there's 2 blues in here, and it's sometimes you can't quite tell. One's slightly more purpley, one's a little lighter. Not much difference between them, but it does not bother me. So I'm excited to get this finished. I started it in 2024 in February, and I finished it just over 2 years later on the 17th of February of this year. So pretty excited to have that done. This was an older whip, and it stitched up pretty nicely. And I think I would do an Owl Forest again. I just don't know when. But it was I enjoyed the process there. My next finish was when I said I was contemplating doing a birthday start. My birthday was last month. And I said I was going to do patterns called Right to Read by Forbidden Fiber Co. And I did, in fact, start it on my birthday, and I could not put it down. So I started this. I have my date wrong on my paper. It took me about 10 days to complete. About 2,500 stitches, and I'm sorry I did not iron it. This is on an 18 count. It was a Charles Craft Ada, and I tea-dyed it. That was the recommended, was a tea-dyed. And I used the DMC suggestions provided by Forbidden Fiber Co. And I did this 2/1. So I was pretty happy. I grew up loving Beauty and the Beast. So this was a nice, I thought it was kind of a fun little piece and pretty quick to stitch, and some little bit of back stitching, but nothing too crazy. So I will have to find a way to display this one, but that was Right to Read by Forbidden Fiber Co. So that was another finish. I had a third finish, which was not part of the plan. I wanted to finish The Cats Have Arrived. I thought if I started the Right to Read, I'd want to finish it. It wasn't that big, about 2,500 something stitches plus back stitch, not a very large project. But I had said at the end of my last video, I wanted to finish a project in March. So I wanted to make progress to get this project done in March. Well, once I started stitching on it, I kind of couldn't stop, and then I realized how close I was. So this is Voyage at Sea. It's gonna look, or so it looked like this the last time you guys saw it. This is a Dimensions Gold Petite, and this was my oldest project. I had started this in March of 2022. So here it is, all completed. This is everything in the kit. It's like an 18 count, whatever dimensions called for in the kit floss. It was something. I had, as you saw, like I was missing this section, and I had some stuff around the sides that I still needed some stitching in. And I just started filling that in. And then I decided, oh, you should get started on that back stitching, because there's a lot of it. And so I started doing all this stuff on the outside, and it just made the whole thing just start to pop, and I got really excited. And then I kind of hyper focused on trying to get this done. This is also the first time I've done cording. The cording could be better, but for my first time, I'm pretty happy with it. So yeah, so this should not have taken that long, especially given how many days. I think it was like 4 days for me to get this done, like, 4 evenings of working on it. So it should not have taken me 4 years to get this done, but very exciting. This is actually my first Dimensions finish. I have quite a few Dimensions kits in my stash, and this is the first one to actually get done. So I really enjoyed it. I definitely will work through those other ones as well. All right, so that's all my finishes. It was a very productive month. Sometimes I only get a few done. I think I'm up to 5 finishes in 2026, which is, I think I got 5 in all of last year. So I'm pretty excited about that. I did have one new start. This was for WIPGO. For this year, for WIPGO, I am working on 3 projects, and they are on my board 8 times. For February, this project was called Twice, so it got worked on double what their normal call is. And I have 1 hanging thread, so if you have a problem with that, I'm sorry. But this is Close Encounters by Lola Crow. This is one of her What the Cat Saw series, and so all of my WIPGO pieces this year are one of these pieces, and they're going to be made to look like my cats. So this is where I got to. So I started this on February 3rd. It's on a 22 count white Ada from Charles Craft. And it is done with the called for DMC, and I'm doing 2/1 tent stitch on this. So this is my experiment in tent stitch. These are all full coverage in this space. And I'm pretty happy with the coverage so far. We'll see what happens when I start getting to some of those darker colors. I have done some darker colors on the other two, but this one, I had to do 2,000 stitches on it. So I said, let's knock out this background. So that's what we worked on there. I'm pretty happy with it. It's a little bit off. I miscounted somewhere. So my inner window is going to be shifted one to the right. And I've decided I don't care. So I've just kind of worked around it to fit it. So when I get stitching, it'll be easy to put the window in there. So with these three, I've kind of tried to do a good chunks of the background because there's a lot of it. And the other two, I started into the window. This one I decided, no, let's go background. So there is that one. And actually, funnily enough, this is my Whip Go call for March. I randomized where I put them on the board using the standard numbers. The numbers, this is a little bit of plans, but the numbers for March are 3 and 4, which are both this. So it's going to get another 2,000 stitches this month, which I was looking at, and I actually should be able to, I'll probably just finish all of the background on this one. Let's just knock it out. So that is Close Encounters. So that was my one new start. Now I have 5 whips. Like I said, I got bit by the stitchy bug here. So, we'll start with my BAP. This is my, well, if you know what BAP stands for, it's a big project. This is one that's going to take me a long time. I had kind of a slow start to it, and I have a goal of getting 2,000 stitches every month on it, and I did get that this month. A little bit extra. I got 2,025 stitches. This is what it looked like the last time you saw it. And this originally was started in May of 2023. And here is what it looks like now. So you can see I finished the Divine Beast. I had most of it done. I had some stitching up in here that needs to be done. I made one of these. I believe it's a Sheikah monk. If you've played Breath of the Wild, I think that's what that one is. We added this tower. We added some of the text down here. This whole constellation, all the constellations up here. I'm trying to see if I can get that out of the way. All these constellations, and I started in on this squiggly bit up here, and I did this line of back stitching across here. So we kind of popped around everywhere. I really wanted to finish the Divine Beast first. And then I figured there's about 81 of these, I believe, on the entire thing. So I was like, I better get started. There's a whole bunch of Guardians as well. I have not started any of them yet, but I have an idea for how to tackle them. That's a bit of a challenge if I still have a stitchy bug. But this is on 25 count Mushroom Lugana by Zweigart, and I am doing 1/1 in whatever they called for DMC, except one is replaced. It's actually in this monk here. It's a little bit of back stitching, and it's meant to match your background fabric, so I had to pull one that matched my background a little bit better than the called for, because this was not the called for fabric. But overall, I'm really happy. We're up to over 7% now. If I believe it's 2,014 stitches every month, I will be at 20% by the end of the year. If I can get farther, that's great, but I like to set myself smaller goals that I'm more likely to achieve and then rather go ahead. This needle minder is from Outlaw Stitching on Etsy. I made this grime card for it. So yeah, that's my BAP. I'm happy with how it's going. I'm going to set that aside. I have another project that is always on my to-do list. This is my dog sampler. So this is what it's going to look like. It is, oh, I've forgotten who it's by. It'll be here. But I got it on Etsy, and this is one I am making a modification to the text to. I don't know how many total stitches this is, because it didn't go into Pattern Keeper easily. It counts every square, even the blank ones. but I know how many I have done so far. But this is what it looked like last time you saw it. And I did move the frame, the Q-snap. So it's going to look a little bit different today, but you'll still kind of be able to see where we were. So here we are today. So that's where you could see kind of over to here before. And this is, I started this on, what is that, June 1st, 2025. This is on a 20 count Zweigart Ada in white. And I am stitching 1/1 in anchor 134. And I got 1,631 stitches in it. So what I worked on, I finished parts of this top border, brought it all the way down, found my corner, worked my way down. I finished this portion here. And then I added all of this as well. I just felt like working on border today. There's a lot, or this last month, there's a lot of it. I was trying to work on this and this was annoying me. So then I was like, I'm going to do border. Got to do border. So we are a good chunk of the way across. The middle is about here of the pattern. So not quite 50%, maybe like 40% of the way done. So this is one that I'm just trying to work on until I get it. This needle minder is from Descent Stitch on Etsy. That's where I buy most of my needle minders. But yeah, so this is sort of my, let's work on this. It's a larger-ish project. So we just keep trucking along with that. I'm pretty happy with it. So, and you can see part of the words I started to rechart. I need to finish it and work through here. So the next step, I will probably, just try to finish up in this section and then work my way down and then move across. I don't really have a set order. I tend to like to start in the top right or top left of, when you look at it, the top left. That's where I tend to like to start and kind of work my way as you would read, I guess. But sometimes when I go down, sometimes I go back and start over here. Or sometimes I kind of just, you start here, you go here, down and around, kind of that way. We'll see. But that is my dog sampler. All right. The next couple of projects are sort of bonus. They were things not originally on my list, but if I could work on them, let's do it. I had kind of wanted to work on them. 2 of these are older projects I'd like to get done. They're ones that I struggle to get huge chunks of progress on. So I was like, if I can do some, let's do it. A little bit helps. Let's get it done. So the first one here is my Dilophosaurus by Outlaw Stitching. I purchased this on Etsy. And this is what it looked like the last time you saw it. I had made the tiniest bit of progress in January. Originally, I started it in August of 2022. And I managed to add 446 stitches to it, which I'm pretty happy. So here we are. This needle minder is also Outlaw Stitching. I made this grime guard here. I made the last couple grime guards as well. But it may not look like a whole lot, but I did finish color. It's this deeper brown in here. That color is all zeroed out. So I was starting to work on it. I had a goal of about 300. I was like, that's a pretty good amount to work on at a time. Sometimes I can get about 100, 150, and then I get bored of it. Or I get frustrated. This is an 18 count Ada, and I'm doing this 2/2 in the called for DMC, which makes it very tight in the spaces. And this Ada is very soft and easy to pierce, so I'm constantly piercing the wrong parts, so it gets kind of frustrating. But as I was stitching, I realized that if I stitched like an extra 150, I'd finish a color. So I decided to challenge myself and finish that color. So very excited. I have one more color that has like over 900 stitches, and the rest are like less than 100. So yeah, if we keep trucking along, we will get this done. but I'm pretty happy with this. This is now my oldest whip. So this is the next one I probably, well, I can't, we'll see. I don't know. I can't make firm commitments. But that was my Dilophosaurus. The next one is one that the same thing. It can be challenging for me to work on it a lot. This has to do with the color choice of fabric, and there's lots of fractionals, and I'm working with the called for threads, which are the satins, which are just a whole other thing to work with. So I only like working with them for so long. This is Princess Peach Stained Glass. This is a free pattern from Make It Pink. You can download this from her website. And I started this one in May 5th of 2025. This is actually one that's been restarted a couple of times because of my frustrations, but I really like the pattern and I want to be better at fractional. So we kept trying. This is what it looked like last time you saw it. And it's looking really good, but you can see I'm working with black fabric. That can make it a bit trickier, but here's what it looks like now. So I added in this red here and some red up there that finished that color. Then I decided to tackle the glove and her skin, and that's what I worked on. But I'm really happy with how it's going. Some of my stitches don't look that great. It is a small count. 18 count is what is called for. Although she called for white, I chose to use black. Don't ask me why, but that's what we went through. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think my next step is going to be kind of filling in the bottom. There is back stitching on this, so if I start filling in the bottom, I could start doing some of that back stitching there. This is another Descent Stitch needle minder. So I mostly use Q-snaps, but I'm finding for some of these smaller projects, the nerd hoops are working out a bit better for me. I think it has to do with the ratio of space to the hoop. I don't know, but this one you can see it just barely fits in the small nerd hoop. So that is my Princess Peach Stained Glass. This last one was a bonus. This is one I did not have on my list to work on at all. And I kind of finished all of my others, and I was debating, do I keep going on something, add some extra, or pick up another one? I believe I guess I started the month with 13. I guess technically I started with 12 whips. I had a new start, and then I finished 3. So now I am down to 10 whips, which is much more manageable. I'd still like to get it down maybe to 8, but I decided to pick this one up. This is Persephone by Mirabilia. This is my second Mirabilia. My first one was the Mediterranean Mermaid, and it doesn't look like a whole lot. This is what it looked like last time. I originally started this in January of 2025. I did not make much progress in 2025, but I feel pretty good about the progress I've made so far. This is just the key for them, but basically I've decided to tackle the dress first. So I had most of this portion done, and what I did was fill in all of this white down here. There's a lot of white. Don't ask me why I got in the mood and was just like, let's stitch white. White is much more finicky, but I don't know, it just worked for me. So I spent a good chunk of this past Saturday here. If I didn't say, it's Monday, March 2nd. I'm terrible at stating the date. This needle minder is Descent Stitch. I don't remember who made this one. I bought it at Keepsakes in Ohio when I went in 2024. And this is all the called for DMC 2/2. And this is 28 count Huntress by Picture This Plus. This is a Lugana. So that's one of the things, is the color. It's darker, so I do have to make sure I have good light, but I really love how the dress is popping. And then we will decide I have not decided if I'm doing all the background stuff. It's kind of similar. Some of it's kind of similar to the fabric. And so I'm kind of waiting to see as she develops whether I want to do it or not. But that was kind of some bonus stitching. So in February, I stitched on all but 2 of my projects, which is pretty exciting for me. Well, I guess technically all but 4, because 2 were whip goes that I didn't call. So I'm pretty happy with how much I got done for there. So I kind of hinted at some plans. I'm going to keep going on the monthly plans for my BAP. That's about 2014 stitches for the month. And then on the dog sampler, I try to do between 1,500 and 2,000 stitches on it. That should get, it's a pretty comfortable pace for me to figure, you know, I just kind of want to keep it moving. So that's sort of my normal stitching. My whip go calls, again, was the Close Encounters, the What the Cat Saw, so the same one you saw. I plan to, so I need to add 2,000 stitches to that because it was called twice. Maybe April, I'll get to pull one of the other ones out. They both only have about 1,000 stitches on them. And then the other plans are going to be to add some more stitches to my Dilophosaurus, add some more stitches to Princess Peach, try to keep those moving along. And then we're going to kind of play it by ear loosely. I'd like to work on, I have another Lola Crow cross stitch along, the Christmas Monster she did in 2024. I've done 2 of the 5. I kind of would like to try to finish them. Again, the goal is to get some older projects done. We'll see if I do that. I also want to make progress on Persephone, just to keep her going as well. I will probably continue to work on the dress, and I will probably end up moving the frame. The other one is, it's a Reolist kit. Cat and Flowers will look like this. This is one that's kind of been lingering and I haven't touched, but it's not a very large kit and it wasn't originally in my plans. I've only shown you February stitching. It's March 2nd. I did stitch yesterday. I stitched on the Cat and Flowers. I'll show you the progress at the end of March, or the April video, the one where I summarize March. I just kind of pulled it on a whim because I wanted to work on something that I had worked on, and I might try to finish that one. This is why I'm terrible at plans, because I'll have a plan and then I'll do something different and then that takes over. So you may see that as a finish for March. I do have a little bit of haul, but I have to grab it and then we'll wrap things up. So for haul, it's very small. Mostly I am trying not to increase my stash, but I got some money for my birthday. I decided to purchase a kit that I have wanted for a very long time. It was for a very good price on Amazon, so I figured, why not? I want to say very good price. I want to say it was less than $10, which everywhere else I was seeing it was quite a bit more. So I decided to snatch that up. This is, we'll see if I can not get glare, Thatch Cottage by Designworks. I can't explain why this appeals to me. I don't generally do full coverage, but something about this speaks to me. So maybe someday. For now, it's just in the stash. So there's that one. And then the other one was sort of a whim. If you know, Dimensions was owned by Simplicity. Simplicity has filed for bankruptcy. I'm starting to find kits less and less common. And this is one that's caught my eye. And actually, I saw a sister chart to it. And I really hope they do end up releasing the other ones. These are seasonal. Let's see if I can not get too much on there. This one is called Wintertime Fairy, and she's in front of this beautiful window. This one has always caught my eye, but I was like, I don't know. And then I saw the fall one. And I was like, I want to stitch them together because they're all with these windows. And I assume spring and summer will look very nice too. So I picked up the Wintertime Fairy. She was a good price on Amazon. I intend to pick up the Fall Fairy. I do have to spread out costs. So yeah, so for now, this one's just going to stay in my stash. We hope to acquire the other one soon. So that's kind of it. So that, yeah, that's it for stitching. You've gone through my plans. We've gone through the haul. And we're just going to keep going. We're going to keep riding this stitchy bug until it gives out. Right now, in my personal life, it allows for a lot of time to stitch. I do not expect that to last forever. So we're going to just try to make as much progress as we can to kind of reset my slate of whips and kind of work through it that way. So that is it for the stitching. If that's all you're here for, thank you for sticking around. If you're interested in quilting, I am also a quilter. I have a quilt in progress, kind of hanging sadly on my design wall here. And I actually will be posting a quilting video later this week. So if that's something that interests you, I hope you stick around and check that video out. I am going to talk briefly about some life updates, but if you were only here for the stitching, thank you, and I will see you next time. So for life, not too much has been going on. Like I said, I teach at a community college that is only part-time. So again, since I'm only working part-time, I have a lot of free time. I have been taking an online class. That also takes some of my time. And that's been going well. That class will end at the end of this month. And we are actually transitioning into some intense job hunting. If you remember, I got laid off of my regular 9-to-5 job in 2024. I can't even remember anymore. It was 2024. And I've been kind of working part-time jobs in between, trying to find something else. I took a break from active job hunting to do a certificate program. So that's what's wrapping up. And so I'm hoping to move into a better paying full-time job, basically. So that's why I'm unsure what's going to happen with my stitching, because times will be changing. So that's about it. I did have a birthday. It was nice. I don't like to do much for my birthday. I've never been one to throw a party or do something like that. I usually just want to, I appreciate people saying happy birthday, and then I kind of just want to do what I want to do. I ended up stitching most of the day after work on the Right to Read pattern, which was lovely. My boyfriend and I went out to dinner. That was also lovely. And then the only other thing we really do is we do go watch local wrestling once a month. So we did that. That's usually the first weekend of the month. So it's coming up this weekend, and I look forward to that. And then, yeah, not too much going on. Like, I don't live a very exciting life. It's just me and my boyfriend and our 3 cats, and I quilt and I cross stitch and we watch wrestling. Like, there's not much to it. But anyways, that's the life update. Like I said, not terribly crazy or anything like that. If you stuck around, thank you. I know I kind of started off with a bang with my whip parade when I first started, and then I didn't post for a year. And those of you that stick around, it really does mean a lot to me. When I decided to continue posting, I really wasn't even sure if anyone would care. And seeing that people did really warmed my heart, because I don't have very many people to share kind of what I do in my personal life. So it's nice to have people who appreciate it, even if I don't know you in person. So anyways, until next month, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed what you saw. Let me know what you think of my plans, or if you're like me, where you make plans and then don't really follow them. Until next time, thanks. Bye.